Everybody, this is LMP Games, and welcome back to episode 2 of our, I put the 2 down here so you can see episode 2 of our event tutorial series for Aperture Maker MV. The last video we talked about, we just kind of did a reintroduction to events, what they are, all the different things in the event panel. And for this video, today we're going to be doing some basic event stuff. So we're going to create some basic NPCs. NPCs that have some just a couple lines of dialogue. NPCs that'll move around. NPCs that will do stuff. Just going to do some pretty simple examples. And we'll go from there. So, as we went over last time, to create an event, we just need to click on one of the cells in the map. That brings up the event editor, and we can go in and set up an event this way. So, let's call this NPC Jenny. Go ahead and give an image. Let's do this one. We're gonna leave this fixed, so this NPC will not move around. It'll stand in place. So priority, same as characters, means that the NPC will collide with the player. So they're on the same level. And the action button trigger means when they interact that they have to hit the action button for your game. So enter, E, controller button, whatever. They'll have to manually interact to have the NPC do anything. There are some other options like player touch, which means that the player runs into the event will run. There's event touch, which means when the event hits the player, the event will run. This has some really weird restrictions on it. The event has to be on the same priority level as the character. So if you're trying to create an event that's above the player, that's flying, like say like the best example I can think of at the moment is something that Emilar was trying to do a while ago, which was to I think it was Emilar. Maybe it wasn't. This is like sometime last year, and I've forgotten exactly who it was, but I was watching another Aperture developer on Twitch, trying to do a thing where they wanted to have a snowball flying and have it travel over the player and hit the player and then be removed, essentially. But they didn't want the snowball to be on the same, to actually collide with the player. They wanted it to be able to go over the top of the player and then be detected when it's over the top of the player, and then have it do the thing that he wanted to do. Now the problem here is that it's Bin Lounge. That's who it was, Bin Lounge. Just remember. The problem with that is that the way you would make a event that's on the same level, priority level as the player, go through the player, is using turning on the through command, the through option, which is this. Which, like on the move route, allows you to set it so the NPC can move through things and won't interact, won't collide with them. Problem is, that disables the ability of the event touch to run. So, that doesn't work that way. So if you put this above character, that means that the event will render above the character. In this situation, event touch doesn't work either. So actually I wrote a plugin that actually fixes event touch to make it run the way it should. I don't know why they have that restriction that way. There's absolutely, that I can tell, no reason why it's there other than they were like, oh, we'll just make it this way. Just the story of RPG Maker, there's a lot of weird decisions that make no sense that they've chosen to do. That then plugin creators have to go in and fix and change and make the way they're supposed to be. But it's just the way RPG Maker is and has been for quite a while. You have to deal with the bullcrap that the developers decide should be what happens when you want something entirely different to happen, or something just happened a little bit differently that makes a lot more sense. So yeah, in this case though, you have a regular NPC, so it would be on the same level as the character, so you could use Event Touch. The last two here are ones to make an event run automatically. You gotta be a little bit careful with this. Autorun is the most dangerous of these, and here's why. Let's say you have you have a game done. It's not a massive game, but it's a pretty large game. So you got like 12, 13, 14 maps. I think a large game would be around probably 20 to 30 maps. You have 20, 30 maps. Got a lot of event stuff that happens, and you're playtesting it. You get about halfway through, and all of a sudden the game stops working. You can't move around, you can't do anything, you're stuck. You just you interact with something on a map, and the game just freezes. So, why would that happen? You might think, well, maybe just the engine's really buggy or something. Well, the thing that probably happened is you probably had an event somewhere that you had from something you were trying to do before, or that was for testing, or that you didn't change a switch for or something, and you had an Autorun event in a map tied to a switch that got turned on when you interacted with the thing that you did, and now that event is just running and preventing everything else from happening. Autoruns will run and block everything else from running, including allowing you to interact with the game at all. And this is why autoruns are really dangerous, because they have that effect, and if you don't know about that problem, it's really hard to diagnose and fix those. And if you have a really large game, it could still be hard to fix them even if you know about it, because you might know where the map is that happened on, but you might not know, let's say you got like a 100 by 100 map with like, 30, 40, 50, 70 events on it. And you haven't named your events in a way that like if you name an event Autorun 1 or something, you'd be like, oh, okay, this is probably what it is, or this is maybe one of these is that it is. It's one of these that's causing the issue. Maybe it's like Autorun 1, 2, and 3. But if you just have it, event 01, 02, 03 for the Autorun events, you don't necessarily know which one's causing the problem. So you gotta be really careful using those. Parallel's the same thing, and it's dangerous for a different reason. This used to be true in the past. Not so much true now, because computer hardware has gotten better. But so what a parallel does is it's essentially an autorun, but it runs alongside everything else. So you can have this running with while still allowing the player to do stuff, or to allow other things to happen. So like with the autorun, if you want to have an NPC moving around while that event is happening during an autorun, it's not going to happen because that particular event is going to block everything else. A parallel, though, will run the stuff, and then any move routes you set up for NPCs that are not this NPC can run in tandem as this is happening. So parallels are really good for cutscenes that you need to have things happen without the player causing them to happen directly. But the downside to that is that the number of parallels matters. Like back in the day, in like XP, VX, VXA days, you couldn't have more than like 3 or 4 of these running at the same time without causing the engine to just start crashing the FPS down to like 10, 15 FPS, frames per second. When MV first came out, you couldn't have like more than 5. Not because the engine would not be able to handle it, but because hardware wouldn't be able to handle it. Like the types of hardware people usually play RPG Maker games on are like really old laptops and stuff like that. That's a generalization, but think of that kind of level of hardware, and that's usually what people play this stuff on. So, these days though, it's not so much a problem. But still, the less number of parallels you need to use, the better. And you should probably try and figure out ways to use as few as possible. Again, in this case, we just want to have the action button. And we're going to have this NPC just say something. We'll go ahead and set up the actor face. We'll just say, hey Harold. Alright. So let's go ahead and, oh, I almost did it. So what you should always do before you ever run a game, this is kind of going into the database stuff, go into System and change the volume for the main screen. You will save your ears some destruction. Okay, so we're going to turn this on. Save changes, yes. Playtest. Alright, so if you go up here and talk to the NPC, and there you go. So that's a basic NPC there. Let's go ahead and create a few more. We're going to make one that'll move around. So let's go ahead and make a new one. Instead of using type fixed, we're going to say random. So this NPC will move around randomly in the map. We're going to change the speed to normal, so it'll move at a normal speed. And we'll leave the frequency at lower. So frequency means the frequency that it will change direction. Our frequency of autonomous to move it. So lower means it'll move fewer times at a normal speed. Crap. We're going to turn stepping on. So what walking does is it makes sure that the NPC, when it's walking, will have the walking animation. Stepping means that it will do the walking animation when it's stopped as well. And for this one, we'll have a show text as well. I will do a classic meme line. With that one. Let's set up an NPC that will move on a particular route that we want it to go on. Now for this one, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to use the move route command. We're going to use the move route system through, so you have to go into custom, and then when you do that, it'll enable the route button, and now we can set up a route. So what I'm going to do is I want this to set up like a patrol route almost, so it's going to go in a particular pattern every time. So we're going to say move down 5, move right 3, move up 5, move left 2, and then repeat movement. Skip if it cannot move. So if it can't finish a move option, it'll skip it. Actually, no, we won't say that, because if we do that, it'll go in weird directions. Okay. Frequency normal. Move slower. Won't have stepping animation. I'll set up a new text for this one. Let's put in some basic thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and playtest this. I didn't have the database focus up, but you kind of get the idea. So you can see this NPC is moving, but it also has the walking animation even when it's not moving. And this one's moving in that direction that we told it to move in. Oh, it's gonna go down diagonally because I think we missed one of the move options is not quite right. Yeah, eventually I end up like down here in the bottom of the screen. We don't have another one. We're missing one going up, I think. Yeah. So if I get in the way, it's not going to move, but it will still move all the directions it's supposed to. Whereas if I had skip, it'll skip whatever it can't do, and then it'll move to the next one when it can. So you could essentially, if I was standing here with it having a skip if it can't move, it would be skipping different steps, and then when I moved and the NPC could move, it would do whatever step it's on. It could be any one of those like movement options, so it could like go right or left from here at this point. So there's those NPCs. Let's say we want to do an NPC that has some extra bit of dialogue and gives us a choice of something, and then we'll have that choice change one of these other NPCs. So let's go to this one. We'll have it change. We'll have it change this NPC here. So normally it'll be doing this. Let's actually fix the route. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, we have 6 up. We have 6 down, but only 5 up. That's a problem. So we will fix that. Okay. So go ahead and hit that. That'll fix this. So we're gonna create a new page. We're gonna copy this, paste it. Whoops. There we go. And we're gonna change this. We're gonna set up a switch, and we're gonna call this Wolf Spotted. We're gonna change this to fixed, and we're gonna have this one automatically move and do stuff. So when this switch is turned on, this event's gonna immediately change and do something different. Alright, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to create a move route through the move route option here in the command panel. We're going to set it to this event. And we're going to wait for completion. That means that nothing else will happen while we're waiting for this event to finish this move route. And we're going to change the speed to faster and frequency to higher. And then we're going to have this NPC move to the left. So this is where you first run into a slight issue here. Like, so for example, since this NPC is on a particular route, right? We're not gonna know exactly where on the route she's gonna be when this is gonna trigger. So we're gonna need to it's going to be a bit hokey looking, potentially. I don't think there's a way to just... Yeah, there's no way to really set this. So what you would normally do for this at this point is you would get a plugin, like Yanfly's plugin. Because what I want to do is I want the NPC to move to the edge of the map and then be removed as if they're moving off the map, going to another map. Since we don't know, since this NPC does not have a fixed location, we don't know how many times that NPC has to move to get to the edge of the map, because there's no way to really figure that out here. Now, there might be a really complex way to do it by finding a map cell location and then setting up a move route in a loop with a check to see if they're at that cell. But that's way above what we're doing here. That would be a different video. This is supposed to be basic stuff. So there is a way to do it, but not an easy way to do it. Which actually maybe I'll actually add that as a video that we can do to do that, because that sounds like an interesting thing to look into. So we're just going to do a thing here. So we're going to say move to the left a bunch of times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it would have to be at least 10 to 13, or 10 to 12. Because here's the closest place, this is the farthest place. So what you would do is you would use the further one, I think, in this case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. And then we'll hit OK on that. And then what I would do is I would do another switch here. You could do a race event, but a switch is a better option. So we're going to call this Liza left. And we're going to turn it on. And then we're going to have another page that's going to be turned on when that is turned on. Which essentially is going to make the NPC be invisible. So this is the one that'll be running by default. When the wolf is spotted, this will run. Then when the NPC gets to the end of this move route, this will run and essentially hide the NPC from view. And this will always be true while the switch is on, so if you leave the map and come back, this switch will still be true, so the NPC will still be hidden. Which is why it's better than doing a race event. So I also want to go ahead and move this down 1 unit, just so that it's not going to run into this NPC if it's up here on the top. Alright, so now we need to create an NPC that will trigger this one to do the thing. So we're going to create an NPC down here. We'll say Roy. I'll make this be another random move character. Normal. When we interact with it, show some text. We'll say, so we'll just put this extra text here. And then at the end of that, we're going to do a control switch to turn on wolf spotted. Then we're going to copy and paste this event page. We're going to turn on wolf spotted. Actually, we're trying to Eliza left because wolf spotted won't be able to use that because everything will be kind of paused at that point. So actually what will happen is that this NPC, actually it will be because This NPC situation is happening in isolation from everything else. What'll happen during a cutscene is you'll have an event that's running that cutscene, and that event will be a parallel, and that event will keep the player locked down. In this case, though, we actually could talk to Roy before this is turned on. So actually, we do need to create another one, I think. Actually, wait, let me do a paste. I will say wolf spotted. Turn that off. Alright, apply that, do that. Go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and run it, playtest it. So, let's go ahead and talk to Roy. And now we're waiting for the, oh, because the move route is, whoops. We need to change something really fast. We need to make that a skip if cannot move, and then what we have to do is we have to put a wait. Let's say 300. Because so if we're doing this, once the NPC hits the edge of the... Actually, no, maybe skip it cannot move. Maybe if it can't move, it skips and then goes. Maybe it still is waiting. Let's actually see if this works without the wait. I usually don't use the skip if can't move because it will break cutscenes, potentially. I want to wait for that other NPC to get out of the way. Oh, nope, never mind. I was right. It doesn't wait. So I'll have to put a wait in so that it doesn't do the erase. Okay, talk to this guy again. Yeah, so it skipped the move route because it hit that follower and couldn't move, and stopped because it was on the wait. So it doesn't just skip a specific step, it skips everything. It skips the entire move route, so that's why I don't really necessarily like using that. But the issue is that if you use wait for completion and it can't finish out the entire move route, it will essentially get locked, right? So we have to turn, yeah, so I think this is the correct option, which is how I normally use these. I just wanted to see if that skip option would actually work or not. If I remembered correctly, that doesn't work very well. So this one, if it gets blocked, it'll keep waiting until it can move and then move. And then once the time runs out, it'll do the thing. There. So it kind of looks a bit hokey, and you can kind of see how a better option would be to use like a plugin that you can specifically say go to this location, or a more complex system that would handle that interaction there. Now if we come back down and talk, you'll see that other flag, the other switch is now has now been turned on. So yeah, there you go. There's some basic NPCs. Pretty simple stuff. You can get a lot more complex, and we'll get a lot more complex as we go through. That is your introduction to some basic stuff that you will very commonly use in working in a game and RPG maker, and it's a good entry into some of the more complex topics. So for the next video, we are going to be, can't even find that. We will be talking about, I should go find my list of things here real fast, because I don't have them memorized yet. So for the next video, we'll be talking about shops. So the next video will be about shops. Map transfers will be episode 4. Episode 5 is going to be on-map enemies. So like triggering, putting an enemy NPC on the map and then triggering a battle from that NPC when you interact with it or run into it. Episode 6 is branching dialogue. We'll get into cutscene basics for episode 7. Intermediate cutscene stuff for episode 8. Episode 9 will be evented systems. Episode 10 will be about the script box. Episode 11 will be advanced cutscene stuff, and that'll be there'll be a reason for why we skip. We have 2 episodes in between the intermediate and the advanced stuff, because you need to know about evented systems and the script box stuff before we get into the advanced stuff. After that, for episode 12, we'll be talking about class changers. Interactive objects will be episode 13. Episode 14 is environmental events. That's the events that you use for mapping, essentially. Episode 15 will be about bridges, which is related to that environmental mapping stuff. Episode 19, hidden passages, and episode 17 will be about specifically event mapping. Which kind of ties back into bridges, but it's a different application of the bridge implementation to make maps, pieces of maps do things. So yeah, that's the current episode breakout so far. There will probably be more than that as we go through these. And basically what we'll be doing is kind of what we did with this one. We'll start out talking about the topic, and then we'll set up some more, more complex examples about that particular topic. Like for shops, we'll start off by just creating a shop, setting up a shop based on a condition, having a more evented version of a shop. It's like more a more high quality shop, if you will. Meaning like the way that you actually interact with the shop NPC is a lot more high quality than just opening up a shop when you talk to an NPC. And then maybe even like shops that'll be based on switches and stuff like that. So each one of these will have like a slight complexity curve to it, and we'll talk about more complex things within that topic within that video. Yeah. So, comments, questions, well, leave them below. Let's try it again. Comments, questions, leave them below. If you have any suggestions for video topics, let me know as well, and I'll add them to the list of videos here. I think that they'd be really useful or really interesting ideas. And I will catch you guys later for the next one, which again is about shops. Until then, this is LMP Games, and I'll see you guys later.